Happy Valentine's Day, everybody. So I figured as a treat, I'd give you guys two videos because we can probably do that at this point of time. I went and saw Titanic in IMAX 3D because believe it or not, I've never seen Titanic in a movie theater. I've seen it several times outside of it. Like I've seen it on a Blu-ray many times before, but I wanted to see it on the big screen. And I'm glad I waited till now to do this video. I could have done this at any point in time. Titanic's been out for, like I said, 25 years. It's very easy to have done a review by this point or talk about why the movie's great, etc., etc. But I wanted to wait until seeing it on a big screen because there are some movies that I feel like they warrant that exposure before you can really get to talking about them. And in the case of a movie by James Cameron, and especially when it comes to something like Titanic, I wanted to see it first up there before I could comment on it. This has been remastered in 4K 3D, by the way, so if you guys go check it out, you'll be seeing a restored copy of the film. And let me give you my thoughts on first the fact that it looks better than it ever has. This is such a stunning film, and once again, it's just a testament to the fact that this thing was made for the big screen, and it looked amazing. But I also wanted to talk about the film in general because I think it's a wonderfully done film. It's a really great romance tragedy. It's obviously taking place around a horrifying disaster that took place now 110 years ago, 111 years ago. And it's a monumentally done film. Sometimes you think about filmmaking, and I know I talked about James Cameron here being this amazing filmmaker a bunch of times, but you really have to see some of the stuff and you realize why that is. Because let's say some of the sequences over here, you're directing them. It's hard to imagine pulling off a scope like this, especially if you're somebody who is trying to make something big and do it almost like you've done this 1,000 times before. Like there is something to when the ship is sinking and you're dealing with thousands of extras probably, and you're having to pull off this insane sequence where everything is just coming apart and going to hell. And the way it's done is jaw-dropping. It's inspiring, honestly. It's also impossible to think about because no matter how many explanations you'll get over those 25 years, you'll keep looking at it and going, how did he do that? How did he do that? It's impossible. And it also doesn't help that it's a wonderfully told movie. I always used to think Titanic had some issues here and there, but after seeing it again, and I feel like I just saw it for the first time. Like, I really feel like this was the first time I genuinely sat back and was like, oh my god, that was a movie right there. Be it the acting, which is amazing from Leonardo DiCaprio and Kate Winslet, to the, of course, magnificent direction, the gorgeous music by James Horner, and of course, My Heart Will Go On by Celine Dion, the spectacular visual effects. It's such a masterfully done film. But something that I often used to not think about much when it came to Titanic was I just want to see the part where the ship, hits and we get the spectacle. I'm not really here for the romance thing. And yet, I found myself really wrapped up in this one time, and I don't know what it is, whether it's my age or whatever. I found myself more emotionally invested in it than I have been in ever when it came to Titanic, to the point where I was genuinely welling up in moments, and it's just such a wonderfully realized story beat that you get over here, and they are having this amazing chemistry on screen that comes through in spades, and it's a great movie. I'm not trying to review it, because I feel like you've seen countless reviews at this point. But I did wanted to take this time because I just want to talk about some of the scenes I really, really loved, and even loved them even more while watching it again. I think the whole chronicling of how they meet, eventually, there's that great scene that takes place, in the stern where they're having the dance, and I thought that was great, wonderfully done and wonderfully choreographed sequence. Those iconic moments such as I'm Flying Jack, wonderfully done as well. And eventually when you get to the ship sinking bit, it's actually insane how much I was invested in it despite having seen it so many times. I was genuinely tense, what's gonna happen, and eventually when it comes to that last bit after the ship snaps and it's finally going down and it's escalating, it was like, oh, okay, this is it, this is the very end of it. It's pulse pounding stuff, and I was gripping my seat at that point of time. And for a movie that's 3 hours and 15 minutes long, it never feels 3 hours and 14 minutes or 15 minutes long. It's a movie that feels like it was in an hour it was over. It's such a fast-paced and wonderfully done film, and it's constantly riveting. It's constantly got you at the edge of your seat. It's constantly got you invested in the characters. And I mean that not just because, oh, I saw it in a theater or something like that. I'm not trying to lift this up in any specific way. It's also just about like movies that you revisit over time and you find more things to appreciate with. That's why this is a retrospective. It's not a review. So if it was a review, I'd be giving you the points, this is what's great. Sometimes this is not, this is the, no, I'm talking about simple memories. The first time I watched this movie was on cable TV. And I don't even think it was in English. I think I saw it in India. I think it was in Hindi the first time, okay? Then I've watched it, obviously, in English many, many times over. And, now not only do I own the movie, which I can't wait to own now in 4K because this looks stellar. But it's been a great journey with this film, and it's always interesting because when you're sort of growing up with it, there's that obvious feeling of kind of get away from all the mushy romance stuff, but can kind of get to the action, but I think it is also just a case of like, as you're growing up with it, your understanding of movies, your ability to be emotionally invested in them, it increases to a point where you are wanting to see more of what makes, a film like this tick and what makes, Cameron such a great director. It won 11 Oscars. It currently is tied with, I believe, Ben-Hur and The Return of the King as like the highest Oscar winner movie of all time, and for good reason. They're amazing movies. Like, when you're watching this film, it's very easy to look at it and you can understand, like, I know why this won 11 Oscars. I know why this won Best Picture. It's a masterful work, and it's one that I'm glad to have been able to experience in this way, and I highly recommend checking it out this way. I don't think it's running for much longer, so it's a very limited engagement. So if you get a chance to go see it in theaters right now during this re-release with the remaster, please do go see it. Because I believe Quantum Mania takes over in this weekend. So before that happens, make sure you guys get to check it out. I know it's not running in too many IMAX theaters, so whichever one is running in our neighborhood, make a run to it. And let me know what you guys think of the movie. Have you seen it over the years? What are your thoughts over it? Like, have they improved over time? Have they worsened? Whatever it is, leave them in the comments down below. You guys are the best. Happy Valentine's Day again, once again, and hope you guys enjoy your day. And if you like this, please do subscribe. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you guys at the movies.